Sacramento. In a league where chaos usually hides behind highlight reels, the Sacramento Kings have achieved the rare distinction of forcing policy change at the highest level. League officials confirmed that the franchise's decision to trade DeMarcus Cousins in full view of All-Star Weekend media prompted the NBA to shift its trade deadline calendar forward, an unprecedented move that executives now cite as a textbook example of how not to manage optics. The team's dysfunction, however, runs deeper than one poorly timed transaction. Over the past 2 decades, the Kings have posted the longest playoff drought in NBA history, burned through 14 head coaches, and squandered multiple lottery selections, transforming a proud fan base into a study in resilience. Former front office advisor Jeff Van Gundy describes the climate as operational whiplash, noting that ownership's appetite for abrupt pivots leaves even veteran staffers guessing which direction the franchise will point next. Financially, Forbes still lists Sacramento among the league's lower-value clubs, despite the NBA's booming media deals. And industry analysts argue that chronic instability has erased hundreds of millions in potential equity. The result? A franchise so entangled in its own misfires that each headline about the Kings is greeted by rival executives with equal parts fascination and disbelief, a dynamic unmatched elsewhere in professional sports. Inside Golden One Center, optimism can still be heard, but league scouts agree it echoes off empty banners. Before we dive into how things started unraveling, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're into deep dives like this. We break down the biggest stories in basketball without the fluff. Just facts, receipts, and a bit of chaos. And trust me, you're going to want to see how this one ends. Now back to the video. When star guard De'Aaron Fox addressed reporters last winter, the subtext of his polished remarks underscored a franchise on the brink. Fox, once vocal about spending his entire career in purple and black, revealed that Sacramento's dismissal of coach Mike Brown, barely 7 months after awarding him a lavish extension and the league's unanimous Coach of the Year accolade, had shaken his faith in the organization's trajectory. According to sources close to the negotiation, Fox privately warned ownership that he would not suit up under a 5th head coach in 8 seasons, effectively drawing a professional red line. The declaration was less a trade demand than a plea for stability, but the message resonated throughout front offices from San Antonio to New York. Even all NBA talents crave organizational competence over glamour markets. In a twist emblematic of the Kings' turmoil, executives went silent after Brown's firing, leaving Fox alone to field probing questions about loyalty and direction. Analysts on ESPN's NBA Today marveled at the optics, an athlete defending decisions he neither initiated nor endorsed, while fan blogs speculated whether the episode had irrevocably damaged Sacramento's relationship with its most marketable star. Indeed, when Fox later cited the Spurs as an example of the culture he admired, insiders interpreted the nod as a subtle invitation for rival suitors. To date, no formal trade request has surfaced, yet league insiders whisper that the clock on Fox's patience is ticking in real time. But that's not all. The broader context of Fox's frustration begins in 2006. The last season, Sacramento celebrated playoff basketball before plunging into a record-setting 16-year drought. During that span, the franchise's controlling owner, tech entrepreneur Vivek Ranadive, gained notoriety for hands-on experimentation that former employees compared to beta testing with live ammunition. Ranadive's belief in unconventional strategy, most famously a proposal to employ a 4-on-5 defense to fuel fast breaks, earned sound bites but seldom victories. His influence extended beyond the court. Whether lobbying for player rotations via late-night text or greenlighting mid-season stylistic overhauls, the owner's fingerprints appeared on decisions traditionally reserved for basketball operations staff. As a result, seasoned executives cycled through Sacramento at dizzying speed, each exit marked by familiar references to philosophical differences. ESPN analytics guru Kevin Pelton estimates that the churn alone cost the Kings roughly 9 wins per season in continuity value, an invisible tax rarely captured by traditional metrics. Today, Golden One Center boasts one of the league's most passionate crowds, yet insiders describe a front office environment where long-term planning seldom survives the next email from the owner's suite. The resulting power vacuum has left scouts uncertain which voice ultimately guides the draft room, a perilous ambiguity that continues to haunt personnel strategy. Until that hierarchy clarifies, experts caution any blueprint risks immediate revision. One of the clearest examples of strategic confusion unfolded in July 2015, when Sacramento shipped rookie lottery pick Nick Stauskas, veteran contracts, and the right for Philadelphia to swap 2 future first-round selections, plus relinquished an additional first outright in a cap-clearing maneuver designed to lure marquee free agents. Industry observers initially assumed a franchise-altering acquisition was imminent. Instead, targets Monta Ellis, Rajon Rondo, and Wesley Matthews either declined or signed one-year deals elsewhere, leaving the Kings with empty cap space and a diminished asset chest. The fallout proved expensive. One of the conveyed picks matured into the number 3 selection used by Boston to draft Jason Tatum, now a perennial MVP candidate whose stardom underscores the magnitude of Sacramento's gamble. Former Sixers executive Sam Hinkie, architect of the trade, later called the deal a gift that kept giving. While the Kings, deprived of elite talent and leveraged flexibility, spiraled through another rebuilding cycle. Basketball Reference data shows Sacramento's cumulative win percentage across the following 3 seasons, ranked dead last in the Western Conference. An outcome analysts attribute directly to the lost draft equity. Even internally, front office emails leaked during litigation acknowledged the move as a turning point where process ceded to impulse, language that still circulates in league seminars on cap management. To date, no subsequent regime has fully recovered the forfeited ground. But listen to this. Coaching volatility has compounded those roster miscalculations. Since Rick Adelman's 2006 departure, Sacramento has awarded the clipboard to 14 different head coaches, the highest total in the NBA over that window. None of the exits was more perplexing than the December 2014 dismissal of Michael Malone. At the time, the Kings sat a respectable 9-6. But a viral meningitis diagnosis for All-Star center DeMarcus Cousins triggered a temporary 2-7 skid. Rather than weather the illness, management cited philosophical incompatibility and terminated Malone. The decision stunned peers. Denver Nuggets executive Tim Connolly later said the firing opened the door for Malone to guide Nikola Jokic's rise and eventually hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. Data from Cleaning the Glass indicates Sacramento's defense dropped from 12th to 29th efficiency within 2 months of Malone's exit, illustrating the on-court cost of knee-jerk policy. Insiders recall that Ranadave envisioned a faster offensive pace, yet the roster was ill-suited for such a shift, leading analysts to label the episode a textbook clash between ideology and personnel reality. Veteran assistant coaches now routinely request contract provisions, shielding them from early termination when interviewing in Sacramento. A rarity that underscores how thoroughly the franchise's reputation precedes it. Even with such clauses, sources say candidates view the post as a high-risk gateway rather than a destination. Continuity, it appears, remains negotiable. The franchise's penchant for drama reached national consciousness during All-Star Weekend 2017, when word leaked mid-press conference that Sacramento had agreed to send DeMarcus Cousins to New Orleans. Cameras captured the stunned center learning of the trade from his agent moments before reporters swarmed. A scene so jarring that Commissioner Adam Silver later endorsed moving the trade deadline ahead of All-Star festivities to prevent future public spectacles. Analysts note that Cousins, averaging 27 points and 11 rebounds, represented the franchise's most productive pillar since Chris Webber, making the decision to sever ties under Klieg lights all the more confounding. In the aftermath, Cousins admitted the experience broke my heart, while union representatives privately lobbied for player notification guidelines. Statistically, the haul, highlighted by rookie Buddy Hield, failed to offset the loss. Sacramento's post-trade net rating ranked 27th, and attendance dipped 9%. The episode crystallized a narrative. In Sacramento, timing is as questionable as talent valuation, a dual deficiency that rival general managers exploit during negotiations. ESPN's Zach Lowe described the optics as organizational malpractice broadcast live, a soundbite still recirculating whenever mid-season trade chatter intensifies. Insiders now point to the Cousins deal as the precise moment the club's credibility with star players eroded beyond easy repair. Rebuilding, they warn, becomes exponentially harder once trust evaporates. And it gets even more intriguing. Draft night 2018 offered a chance at redemption, yet instead delivered what many scouts deem the costliest misread of the modern era. Holding the second overall pick, general manager Vlade Divac, himself a European icon, possessed deep familiarity with Slovenian prodigy Luka Doncic, including personal rapport with the family. Despite that intel, the Kings selected Duke forward Marvin Bagley III, citing positional need and pace and space potential. 5 All-NBA selections and a Western Conference Finals appearance later, Doncic's superstardom serves as constant reminder of the road not taken. Bagley, plagued by injuries, logged fewer Kings minutes than Doncic logged triple-doubles over the same span. An imbalanced driving analyst to rank the decision above past infamies, such as Portland's Sam Bowie pick. Franchise insiders say ownership preferred a traditional big to pair with De'Aaron Fox, illustrating a disconnect between scouting reports and executive directive. Basketball Reference's win shares metric estimates the gap between Doncic and Bagley at plus 42 over 5 seasons, a delta valued at approximately $250 million in on-court impact. Around the league, personnel departments still reference Bagley over Luka as shorthand for succumbing to internal bias, a cautionary tale that continues to haunt Sacramento's brand. For a franchise already short on good faith, the misstep compounded skepticism and deepened fan fatigue. Each subsequent Doncic highlight reel effectively reopens the wound, reminding observers of what might have been. Here's where the story really heats up. Hope resurfaced with the September 2020 hiring of general manager Monte McNair, whose analytics pedigree from Houston promised data-driven calm. McNair swiftly retooled, swapping Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton to acquire Domantas Sabonis, then crafting an offense that finished first in rating and shattered the 16-year postseason drought in 2023. His recognition as Executive of the Year seemed to cement a new era. Yet insiders reveal that owner Vivek Ranadive soon reclaimed veto power over personnel. By the next summer, McNair was reportedly pressured to pursue DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, a pairing that had underwhelmed in Chicago. Sources say the GM's reluctance triggered a quiet marginalization, culminating in his departure amid mutual parting language. Analysts argue the scenario mirrors previous cycles. Momentum meets meddling, progress stalls, leadership exits. Advanced plus-minus models show Sacramento's defensive shortcomings remained unaddressed during the power tug-of-war, sliding from 18th to 27th as front office bandwidth narrowed. In effect, the franchise again prioritized star allure over holistic fit, undercutting the very foundation that had revived playoff buzz. McNair's departure resonated across league circles as a caution that even documented success offers limited job security inside Golden One Center, prompting several rising executives to quietly withdraw candidacy for the vacant role. The pattern, critics contend, is now institutionalized. DeRozan's arrival, intended to inject veteran scoring, instead amplified structural questions. Within weeks, the 14-year veteran publicly cited uncertainty in foundation as the roster's chief obstacle, a striking assessment from a player who has logged playoff minutes with Greg Popovich's Spurs and the culture-rich Raptors. Concurrently, Sabonis lamented the absence of a pure point guard, a comment analysts interpreted as implicit commentary on Fox's controversial exit. On-court metrics soon echoed their critiques. Sacramento surrendered a league-worst 38% from beyond the arc, and ranked bottom 5 in defensive rebounding, symptoms of schematic confusion. Team insiders describe film sessions where assistant coaches presented divergent game plans, reflecting an unresolved hierarchy after McNair's departure. The disconnect spilled into the locker room. Sources say role players toggled between pace-centric sets favored by Ranadive and methodical half-court actions preferred by veteran staff. By mid-season, DeRozan's camp was already gauging interest from contenders, while Sabonis privately questioned long-term viability. For fans who once rallied around the light the beam mantra, the reversal proved whiplash-inducing, underscoring how quickly optimism evaporates when organizational voices diverge. Analysts warn that unresolved strategy trickles onto the court, turning every defensive lapse into evidence of a deeper cultural fissure. Unless alignment is restored, insiders predict more exits than entrances this summer. Looking forward, Sacramento retains all but one of its incoming first-round picks and wields additional selections from San Antonio in 2027 and Minnesota in 2031, assets that, on paper, could anchor a judicious rebuild. The presence of two-way wing Keegan Murray offers a modern developmental pillar, and ample cap space looms as veteran deals expire. Yet, league executives remain skeptical that structural issues will permit those resources to convert into sustainable gains. Historical precedent suggests otherwise. Previous treasure troves were squandered through impulsive trades or mismatched signings. Market analysts from Sportico estimate that even a modest playoff run could raise franchise valuation by $400 million, but only if continuity myths yield to verifiable process. Meanwhile, Ranadive's continued involvement fuels speculation that strategic drift will persist. One rival GM quipped, They have the ingredients for a gourmet meal, but the owner keeps changing the recipe mid-cook. Until that chef steps back, observers argue, Sacramento's best-case scenario remains mediocrity. For a fan base starved of banners, the reality is sobering. Draft picks and cap room cannot compensate for inconsistency at the top. And future headlines may track whether the Kings can finally escape their own shadow or whether another cautionary chapter is already being written. For now, the basketball world watches, hopeful yet wary, as the cycle spins once more in California's capital. History, after all, remains undefeated. Thank you so much for watching till the very end. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you never miss our next upload.